Well, it's interesting. Ceasefires have been drawn out between has been made between Israel and Hamas.
Yep.
Which is quite funny because so you mean to tell me all this while they could have ceased fire, but it's just weird how they could just choose to do that. And then you kind of think, okay, why don't they do this earlier on? And all these lives are being lost. But anyways, they've ceased fire, uh, and they're trying to get into agreements of uh, how to like
Yes.
get peace going, and they have been able to um, release, or they're about to release hostages or prisoners of war, so to speak, amongst each other, between the Israeli military and the Hamas uh, military, which is, I suppose, good news given that some people are gonna go home. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how for how long this carries because it's again, it's very TikTok has been temporarily banned in the United States. I say temporarily, well, because it's like they're still trying to uh, come up with a deal that will allow them to uh, allow users, I suppose, in the states to be still be able to access the app. But yeah, what's your take on it, Alan?
I think it's actually a good thing because, like, yeah, TikTok. First off, it's not good to like be on your phone so long time, and TikTok promotes being on your phone for so long time. So, like, I don't think like it's a good thing. So, yeah, what I think about this.
Interesting. It's interesting. Mm, yeah, but apart from that, all over the world, TikTok is still available. And it's just a state because they fear the Chinese government could be used to spy on their citizens.
Like they're not already signed.
Yeah, air quotes, air quotes. Anywho, moving on. This is episode 3 of Put on the Armor, and we have a special guest, and it's none other than my lovely sister. She has made out time out of her busy schedule to be here with us, and we thank her so much. Please, sis, introduce yourself and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm the I'm the sister. And my name's Chess or Chesley. So yeah, I'm guessing today's episode.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking about something quite interesting.
Yep. Yep. That's indeed because like I felt like I had to get you on here to discuss about this real quick because I feel it's something that is really important and how something that like young ladies
Yeah.
would like appreciate coming across. So that's why I brought you here for your own opinion too and experience and whatnot. So it's glad to have you here. First off, how is I know you have been busy with driving lessons and whatnot. How's it been going?
Yeah. It's been good actually.
It felt like an out of body experience the first time,
Wow.
but now it's kind of I'm kind of getting into the groove of the thing. So I'm a bit uptight, but other than that, I think it's like it's good. It's good. We're getting there. Very soon, I'm gonna be bumping Olivia Rodrigo. Like if I try, it's like
That's that's very nice. We can't wait to have you officially have your driving lesson. That would be pretty awesome. And yeah, Uber us wherever we ask you to Uber us. Hey, let's be oh, all right, that's nice. Um, but yeah, it's just wanted to talk about this, and I wanted to have get your opinion on it. Um,
yeah.
but first off, I think I'll have to touch on the idea of how back in the day, I don't know if you guys, well, I know you're a bit young, but back in the day, it was kind of like, I would say, sort of like a um, depressing for the head of the family, the man, to have a daughter, right, as a first child.
Oh yeah.
And they felt like, okay, obviously they would try to get a son, but in some cultures, they, once they have a daughter as a first issue, they feel like as though, it's it's not a good sign for the family because like he wants to have an heir to his lineage and whatnot. But as time progressed, um, I feel in the modern era, men have kind of like been, I suppose, tapped into the idea of like it is okay and it's normal. It is normal, and I emphasize on that word normal to have a daughter, even if she's the firstborn. Um, and then I feel like, well, at first, getting um, used to the child, understanding the child can be a bit tricky for fathers. I feel like a daughter's bond with her father gets a bit much stronger. Um, because
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to point this out because it's like, oh, okay, now the daughter wants to kind of like navigate through the world in the world through her father's perspective. But I want to get your opinion on it. What do you have to say about this, Chelsea?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's true. Like about the first part, that it has gotten a lot um less a thing of shame
Yeah,
to have like a daughter as your firstborn. Thank God. The main issue in the past, as you said, is like dads not being sure what to do with their daughters. But at the same time, I feel as though a man who's like emotionally self-aware and like has an emotional intelligence above a goldfish maybe
yeah,
would be able to know like what he has to bring to the table for his daughter. Like, not only does the mother have certain things to like teach her and guide her and all that stuff, but obviously, as a dad, you too, you have like basic skills and above to teach. So I just think that with time and like people just being more aware that both the man and the woman have a lot to bring to the table in the sense of like teaching about emotion, self-respect, and all that. I think it's gotten clear that it's easier for men to
exactly.
raise their daughters. Yeah.
That's an interesting take because again, it's um, I've noticed again in this modern era, fathers are have now kind of adjusted to the idea, as I said earlier, and it's like, okay, now I have to understand the mind of this little girl, and I have to let her know, what the real world is really like. But again, as you said, this like fathers who is like emotionally um, s- stable and aware of his surroundings, right? But again, of course, there are men who uh, had a rough upbringing,
Yeah.
so it's hard for them to kind of understand.
But I
Uh,
think that reflects also like on their sons too. Like it's not only an impact towards the daughters, but the boys
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like the classic. Oh, as a father, you if you have a son, you like have to look out for him, and as a mother, you have to look out for your daughter, and that's it. That's how it went. But um, for me personally, I feel like a father's role in his daughter's life is critically important. Why? Because like this way, you know, the daughter doesn't get to have any uh like external kind of like need for uh, lo-
Yeah.
validation, external validation out in the world. Because why she had that domestically at home, right? So that's why it's important. Like for father, I was at my best friend's wedding, and how beautiful the relationship between his wife and her father was. And just how emotionally invested her father was in her life, and just how much he meant to her, and what he would do to protect her and whatnot. So daughters are like in this, because well, put it well plainly here. It's like I hope it doesn't rattle cages or rub anyone the wrong way, but it's like women are living in a world where the men are um like
See what you just.
ruling or is a man's world basically, right? They People may say it's a woman's world.
True. That's very
So
true though.
it's important for um a girl or a lady to understand that you don't need to seek external validations for you to um be accepted in a society filled with men,
Mm.
right? So,
Diana.
and that's why you don't get to end up like certain way, dress in a certain way, act in a certain way, just to get attention, unnecessary attention. His role is like, sure, you have your mom, who preps you up, and tells you the right way of how to carry yourself as a lady. But as a father, you get to show your daughter like this is who you are, and this is what you deserve, and don't let anyone tell you any different. I feel like that's the most important thing a father could do for his daughter. And how some I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't it nice when even when fathers can take a trip with their daughters and just have um this amazing adventures together, just like to just to show that love, that domestic love that is necessary for the daughter to feel like, oh, okay, because yeah,
Heard.
exactly. And then she gets to open up more, like with things going on in her life and whatnot. And then whenever she has issues or whatnot, regarding relationships or whatever, the father could like give her advice, necessary advice for her to navigate through this. As
Sea of perpetrators.
Yeah, exactly. So having a father, you get to understand a ways, you know, you get to understand how the psychology of men as a woman, how it works.
Yeah.
That's why it's important. I feel like a father should be involved in his daughter's life. Um,
Also, I think like the narrative of like a dad being only the provider and nothing else, like nothing more to bring to the table. I think that trajectory changing has also impacted like this idea, because now it's not like, okay, it's not enough to just bring some food to the table and like, yeah, that's it, some money and a roof over your head. Like, you have to actually be invested, like engage in her life, ask about her life,
Yep.
like
Yep.
teach her things. So yeah, I think that all plays a part, an important one too.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, and that's why I try to let people know because it's important to understand, you know, a perspective of where a lady or a girl comes from, and again, is the household. It varies because sometimes you have a household where the daughter was raised right, but she still turns out to be a bit rebellious. But then you have a household where it's like the mom actually, because her mom taught her to be this way, ends up adding uh, unnecessary pressure on her daughter to be a certain way, act a certain way, just so she could get this attention of like, look, I'm a lady and this is who I am, and I want you to love me. So I feel personally that's where the father needs to step in and be like, you don't need all that in order for a man to want to be with you or anything like that. But I want you to touch on it a little bit. Like, what do you think about this? Because I feel like sometimes, because of the teachings of what mothers got from their mother, they feel like they have to pass it on to their daughters, and they feel like their daughter have to dress a certain way or look a certain
Yeah.
part just so she could be acceptable. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think also it's like a type of projecting. Like
Yeah,
as you said, like the mom the mom having grown up in an environment where maybe her dad wasn't so
involved.
involved in her life and like showing her that, it's okay. You don't need a bunch of things to be loved
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah,
And I think she just passes that on to her daughter, like, oh, you do, but you do need.
yeah,
So in that case, that's where a man and a husband and a father,
yeah,
it's important to have one that's like, no, that's not true. Like, just break that standard.
yeah.
Um,
Break that cycle.
yeah, break the cycle. So definitely, I think it's something that mothers do subconsciously.
Yeah,
And as well as passing that idea that like a man doesn't have to be so present in their daughter or wife's life to their sons too,
yeah,
which just like the cycle keeps going, which is even worse.
yeah,
So yeah, I think mothers do have a critical role to play as well,
yeah.
but that's where the father needs to step in and like show a different way.
Yep, yep,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree, and that's the reason why sometimes mothers need to be put in check, right? Because as you said, a son as well plays a role in this. How? In the sense like you need a sound, mentally sound mom
Yeah.
to be around their son, just so you know she could teach her son like this is how you should treat women as you go on in your life, right? This is what women like. This is what they don't like. I mean, you know what they say, right? Charity begins at home. So, but again, it's tricky sometimes because you have bad friends and whatnot can get involved. But that's why it's important. Again, is highly important that parents are involved in their kids' life as much as possible, not to like sh- be shadowing them in a way, but just get involved, have a heart to heart conversation, get to see what's
Make it a free space, like
yeah,
a safe space.
bravo, exactly that. Give them a space where they could be able to like express themselves and
Mm.
talk about what's like on their mind and how they could be able to give them advices on what and how they could be able to adjust in society that they're in.
Habashi, Habashi.
Um, so it's it, it's good conversations because I feel like sometimes this stuff could like uh
Get overshadowed by standards, old and age standards that are no longer valid and sustainable.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, old ideologies that
yeah.
just lingers on and never, and it's never touched on, just like oh well, this is how life is, this is how it is supposed to be.
You
No,
were raised, you
yep,
didn't die.
exactly,
Yeah, you kind of did emotionally, though. Kind of did. You
exactly.
kind of did.
Ain't that the truth?
Mm.
So nah, but again, the point here is to not put unnecessary pressure, because I feel like ladies nowadays are like highly pressured to look a certain way, to act a certain way, just to get unnecessary attention. And why? Because like their father never really stepped in and be like, "You don't need all that," you know. Sometimes some fathers would be like, "Yeah, do this just to get out of my house," just like you're a woman and yeah, they need to marry you off, and that's pretty much it. That's not really the case, because then you end up with a daughter who is seeking validation and may end up in the wrong hands because she never really got the love that she actually deserved domestically from the man that she looked up to. Because it's important. Why I say that is really important, right? Because here's the thing: a girl, when she when she at a very young age, she looks at her father and goes, "Wow, this this man got with my mom and they made me," right? Now there is a reason. My mom is a woman, just like I am. So there is a reason that this woman got with this man that became my father. So I hope in the future that I'm able to find someone
Like
just
him.
yeah, just like him, or like how my mom got to be with him. The that mindset, obviously it's not like a clear thought, but more of a subconscious kind of way of looking at it. And that's why, because the father is the head of the family, so the daughter looks up to the father and goes, you know
That's kind of like her standard of a man.
bravo, exactly that.
It's like
And
if he's absent, if he's emotionally unavailable, like that's what she's gonna subconsciously be drawn to for
exactly,
some reason.
exactly. So it's like it's critically important to be able to have a father figure, a father who is literally a reflection of what you're seeking in that world. And how that is done is by a father being involved in his daughter's life. It's that simple. It's like, it's that simple. Easier said than done, obviously, because again, women have this chemical imbalance in their system. So it's not easy. It's not easy to understand. But still, again, it comes down to creating this space where you're able to have a proper discussion with your daughter and be able to understand, okay, how she thinks and how she operates and what she wants. Um, and just be a prime example as a father, I think is really, really important. But I want to ask this: what do you think about the idea of uh, a father taking his daughter to teach her martial arts and how to like self protect and all that? What do you think about that?
I think that's a great thing. That's a very like wonderful bonding activity as well. Like not only is it a life skill, I think like a survival skill, it's a great memory to have like to look back. Oh, remember, yeah. And like, oh, I remember when my dad and I would go out and like do martial arts. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like I think it's great. Like I was watching a video actually, like before you mentioned about this episode about Emma Chamberlain. And she was like it was like a recreation of her childhood and like her growing up. And just her relationship with her dad in that video was like so touching. And like I don't think anyone could watch that video and not see how involved and how invested he was in her life and like her growing up and not be affected by it and not wish like they had the same thing.
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
like, yeah. So
I get it.
it's a great thing.
I get it.
I think I've seen the video actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was by Sticks, I think.
Yeah, by
And
Sticks.
it's like the new
Not
YouTuber.
sponsored.
Wow. Not sponsored. That's true. Yeah, but again, you see, it comes down to the having that bond you mentioned, and just letting your daughter know that no matter what, like I always got your back. As long as there's breath in my nostrils, I'm always gonna look out for you. Um, I'm always gonna be there for you. You just
Mm.
say the word. And as you said, just creating this bond where, okay, y- you learned as a mom who is um sound, okay, here's the thing. I I take care of you. I treat you, teach you how to be a lady. But from my dad, it's like more of a, okay, how do I protect myself too, right? Now, obviously, a woman's strength and a man's strength can be matched. However, it still doesn't um evade the idea like a lady can learn certain skills to be able to protect herself because as we know, this is a really wild world we live in. um so that's why I brought it up. That's why I brought out the
Marshall.
the martial art conversation. But yeah, it's pretty much it. Sis, it's been really good having you here. I
It's been
appreciate
great being had.
I appreciate you. It's making a time out of your busy schedule to be here. I know how busy you are.
Literally not that busy, but okay.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, right. But it's really good to have you here, and yeah, we appreciate you having coming here.
Happy. Hopefully you guest star my podcast when it's out.
Yeah, can you plug it in so people can find
It's not really out yet, so I'm still thinking about it. So I'm gonna keep it on the wraps until
Fair enough.
out through.
Hey, look, I'm looking forward to it. I have a lot to talk about, so
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons we started this pod, so we could be able to like help people understand what's going on and just, I don't know, just be the voice for the people who like kind of like are thinking about certain things but don't really know how to articulate it in words. So yeah, that's good. It's good
Yeah.
it's good to have you here.
It's wonderful.
Yep.
I like this. Okay.
Yep.
I hope I'll be guest starring another interesting episode.
You definitely will be.
そうですね。
Yep.
ありがとうございます。
いやいや、
ごちそうさまでした。
gracias, muchas. Bro, seriously, I finally watched this movie last night called Doctor Sleep.
Oh, wow, what's
Yep. And all my days, it's just, first off, it's like, well, I just want to say it's pretty much the thing that goes on a no daily basis, but it's kept on the wraps. But yeah, if people want to know about what goes on behind the scenes in terms of the missing kids and whatnot, and what really goes on, where people don't talk about it, organ harvesting being one of the many reasons, unfortunately. But Doctor Sleep is one of those movies that really highlighted what goes on behind the scenes, which is pretty rough, pretty rough.
yeah, seriously.
But yeah, this is episode 3.
Dress.
Yep, of putting on the armor.
Yep.
So you will hear from us soon enough, and just want to say thank you for listening to this pod show. We hope to you come by and stick around because we have a lot to talk about. This world is full of interesting mysteries. Yep. Catch you on the next one.
Yep. Peace.
Bye. God bless. Yep. We're definitely going red at some points. The Lord knows. Yep. are like in this, because well, I'll put it well plainly here. It's like I hope it doesn't rattle cages so rub anyone the wrong way. But it's like women are living in a world where the men are um like see what you just ruling ruling, or it's a man's world basically, right? They people may say it's a women's world.
True.
So
True though.
so it's important for your daughter, and that's it. That's how it went. But for me personally, I feel like a father's role in his daughter's life is critically important. Why? Because like this way, you know, the daughter doesn't get to have any uh external kind of like need for uh, love, or how do you put the word where you try to
Like seek extra.
no, this is validation, exactly.
Yeah.
Validation, external validation out in the world. Because why she had that domestically at home, right? So that's why it's important. Like for father, I was fortunate enough uh last summer to experience that. My best friend at my best friend's wedding, and how beautiful the relationship between his wife and her father was. And just how emotionally invested